Hey guys, we finally got our first look at the Art of Borderlands 3 concept art book that is being released on October 29. IGN got a first look at 6 pages of the book, and we'll break that all down. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at HayderHype, and let's get right into it. The first page we get covers Flak the Beastmaster, and it says, quote, Flak, an enigmatic vault hunter with a deep affinity for nature, has a history that's as strange and surprising as the augmented animals who fight at the player's side. As these early images show, a robotic Beastmaster was only one of the many possible designs that the team explored during development. Several early variants depicted the character as almost a woodland native, a cowled figure, lithe and mysterious, like a high-tech Robin Hood. The path of exploration led to a series of images in which the Beastmaster not only tamed the animals, but also absorbed the elements of their genetic makeup, becoming more mutated and bestial as the design underwent further iterations. Ultimately, this incarnation was considered too much of a fantasy aesthetic and was put aside. Throughout the exploration phase, art director Scott Kester remained adamant that a robot would resonate with players, saying, quote, some people weren't fans of the character, but to me, the Beastmaster was an oddity. I say I'm always allowed an oddity. Brick was sort of the oddity in the first game, but more because the scale of his body was so ridiculous and huge, he was still a human. For Borderlands 2, I fought really hard for Zero because as a child of the 80s, growing up with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, I said I have to have a character like that. Zero's character was met with some opposition and almost didn't exist. Flak's concept might be Anime 101, but I thought a robot that loves animals is way stickier of a thing than a human that loves animals, you know? Once Flak's artificial nature had been settled upon, more work was done to find a suitable costume for a character who doesn't really need to wear clothes at all. In their final form, a tough, bulky outfit ideal for the wilderness helps disguise the Beastmaster's appearance and keeps Flak's true identity subtly ambiguous. Now, as they say, he started out looking very elf-like with the blue skin and what almost looks like a dragon as a pet. We can see it moved on from that to a more normal human design until they were finally able to narrow it down to a robot. I like some of the earlier designs, even though I don't think they would have fit into the Borderlands universe, and I can't wait for once this book releases to get a look at all the Vault Hunters. Moving on, the next page we get covers Rax and Scaggs. For Rax, it says, quote, top. The top pictures are Rax. They're flying predators native to Pandora. As a Rax has no limbs other than its wings, it uses its long spiked tail to both attack and to adhere to the landscape to rest. A little bit above that shows a sketch of a Rax nest where they come out of and where we'll probably destroy it to stop them from spawning. And then to the left, they show off some new designs for possible attachments for the base rack enemy. The first example adds head fins, a second set of wings, and a large club-like tail, while the second example adds 2 fins, a twin tail prong, and a number of spikes to its head. Just as a side note, I really like this idea that Scaggs would be able to have different variants and make these adjustments to themselves just to switch it up because they have been such a mainstay in the series. Continuing on to Scaggs, it says, quote, below, Scaggs are one of the most iconic Borderlands enemies, but the team was determined to revisit and refine their design along with every other creature in the game. They also say that at the bottom, the various types of elemental Scaggs, along with a tough alpha Scagg variant, which we've seen before. We've seen the different elements. They look good. They look like hopefully this is a redesign for them, that they will be more badass and kind of go back to their roots with that and to actually be scary again. The next page features the Children of the Vault with Tyreen and Troy Calypso. We get what looks like some early concepts for Tyreen, and it doesn't really look like her character model has changed that much. We get what might also be my favorite art of the game so far. It features both the Calypso Twins in front of the Holy Broadcast Center on Pandora. There's almost just trash heaped up behind them, and all the bandits can be seen behind them slowly gathering. Along with that, we get a few other Children of the Vault markings and logos, and this description. It says, obviously, we got additional concepts for Tyreen Calypso, but at the opposite and bottom of this page, Troy and Tyreen have distinctive appearances, but they share certain elements in common. Both of their coats are lined with the same blood red hue, their faces are framed by high collars, and their siren tattoos are exposed. Other details, such as their hair color and outer color of their coats, sit in opposite to each other. Which, I guess I never noticed the hue red on the inside of their coats. The outsides being opposite is cool as well, just small details and the artist really working to put all this together. We also get a picture with what looks like Tyrene's Echo communication portrait that pops up, but this time in high quality. It looks really, really good. And a few other markings for Mouthpiece. I really like this page, and I think it's just interesting because we still don't know too much about the Calypso Twins themselves. After that, we get a look at Jacobs and some of their weapons in game, and this is what the description says. Jacobs. All of Jacob's weapons are proudly inspired by classic Old West designs, as can be seen in their use of wood, leather, and other period materials. The top tier models are both opulent and ornate, while lower quality guns more closely resemble old driftwood and show heavy wear and tear. Jacob's guns allow for players to pull off stylish trick shots such as ricochets when scoring a critical hit, in the style of the most feared gunslingers of yore. So we get a few looks at different concepts, and it looks like most of these did make it into the game based off gameplay I've seen so far. Some pistols, some what they'll look like in game, in engine. It looks really, really good. Not too exciting and not the most exciting manufacturer, but still cool to see. Next, we got the description for one of the more mysterious Borderlands 3 planets, Athenas. And this is what the description had to say. Athenas is the lifelong home of Maya, the siren who once unwittingly helped a monastic set known as the Order of the Impending Storm maintain total control over the planet, as tales of her power were used to keep the population in check. Although Maya eventually realized the Order's deception and briefly fled to Pandora seeking answers about her siren heritage, she has since returned and is now mentoring her young apprentice Ava. Despite the planet's bloody past, there's no denying the scenic tranquility of Athenas. High mountain peaks pierce the skyline and vibrant vegetation peppers the landscape, while temple gates and shrines, with their striking blue and yellow accents, reflect the palette of Maya herself. UI designer Trisha DeSalvo recalls that each planet's bold use of the vivid hues was something that the team had to carefully consider when constructing the game's user interface. It had a big impact on the UI team, she said. We can't expect a certain color range or lighting to match to our UI screens. They have to work from desert yellows and oranges to lush watery blues and greens. It was a change finding the good balance with our elements so that they can look good no matter where the player goes. They continue on saying the Vault Hunters should not expect a friendly welcome to Athenas. However peaceful the planet may seem, Malawan forces have already seized control of the monastery, where part of the Promethean Vault Key has been located, turning a simple recovery mission into a vicious firefight. As these images show, other areas of the planet were also considered for inclusion. Early sketches of a village and slum buildings design suggest that perhaps life is not as serene and opulent for the locals as it is for the monks of the order. A large and foreboding crypt was built into the side of a mountain, was also designed, and might perhaps have housed the vault key fragment deep within its gloomy interiors. With that, we get a ton of different concept art and sketches. It says to the right, we get a selection of monochrome and color sketches exploring the different kinds of buildings that might be found on Athenas. Elements of East Asian agriculture, East Asian architecture are evident in the high-tech barriers that resemble Japanese torii gates. They continue on, saying on the other side, a collection of pieces exploring the mountainous terrain of Athenas and its structures. So we get some really cool designs, what the Iridian Temple looks like, how they originally wanted to do it, but I really like the design they finally ended up with. The description does mention that when we get to the planet, Malawan has already taken control of the vault key and we will be fighting to get it back. On top of that, they do mention that there's the large and foreboding crypt was built into the side of a mountain and housed the vault key fragment deep within its crypts. So if you haven't seen my video breaking down Athenas yet, I would say my speculation was right on the mark about the pyramid and the vault key inside, along with the caverns beneath. But you guys really should check that out. I think I was kind of right on the money with that. And the last piece of art we got is the cover of the book itself, which says Art of Borderlands 3 with an introduction by Scott Kester. It has all 4 Vault Hunters on the cover, along with a ton of Easter eggs and references to the game itself on the bottom. Just in my quick one-over look, I saw bosses, Maya's Siren book, Sanctuary 3, teases to Mouthpiece, and so much more. So I bet there's a ton down there that we still don't know about. There's a head that's inside of a jar almost that I guess I haven't seen. Maybe it's more important than they're letting on. We see echo devices, but you could look at that for forever and keep finding new Easter eggs. And that's where I'm going to end this video though. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for all things Borderlands, and I will see you guys in the next one.